What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. It is the 14th day of January, and here we are sitting at about $2.17 with roughly 7.5 hours left in the day. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it. Bitcoin is up at 97.2K right now. XRP is not really doing much at all. We're just kind of neutral. Some coins are up 15% today, pumping. There's plenty of coins. Dash is up a whole lot, right? XRP is being boring. What gives? It's going to have its time soon enough. I'm very confident that XRP soon enough will resume its throne as the shining star of crypto. We will likely see a lot of growth over the coming days and weeks ahead and months ahead. I think that our next destination is somewhere around this 270, 290 area, this kind of area here, just on top of these highs here. If I'm wrong, maybe we're on the other side of this. Maybe we are, instead of just above these highs, maybe we're right here with these highs and just below them, in fact. But somewhere around 260 to 290, that's got to be our next target. We're at 216 now. So XRP, I think, right now is on a path to that move. I think we'll look back at this day and this day here, and this will be the beginning of that move there. Just like we look back at this as the low, where we began to recover, but the move began here. It might not have seemed clear at this moment on this day that we were going to go all the way up here, but that's where, hindsight's 2020. It tells us that that's where that move began. I think we're beginning this move here up to this area. That's all I'm trying to say. Looking at the short-term stuff, let's zoom in and then we'll zoom out. Okay, looking at the 1 hour time frame, you are building some volume as you're coming out. That's good to see. Yes, you had a lot of red on the last hour, but who cares? Whatever, you've got a lot of volume here. You didn't really go anywhere. That's kind of interesting, I would say. But it's not really that much volume. It looks like a lot relative to this, but it's really actually not that much volume. RSI looks bullish. We are still holding higher lows, more or less. Staying overbought, not getting oversold. Living, I want to say you're living above the 50, but it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But overall, very bullishly postured. I mean, you do have this kind of upward sloping trajectory with these higher lows and higher highs here, right? So that's good in my opinion. Stochastics look bullish, and then the MACD looks bullish as well. 4 hour time frame here, bouncing right off the 50. We love to see it. Stochastics look decent, and the MACD's crossing above the 0. Yeah, we look good. We look like we're ready to go. So daily time frame bouncing off the 50, Stochastics holding the 50, and the MACD starting to build bullish momentum. Where a few days ago, not but like 3 days ago, we were very much considering prices below $2, around $1.95 as a possibility, as a probability. Now I think we're taking that off the table. That's taking a back seat. It's very clear that we are on a path higher. And when we look at this from the all-time high to the low that we had on December 19th, you've gone from your 382 to your 236, which is very common to do when working your way up to the golden ratio. The golden ratio is at about 277 to 292. And this is the primary reason why I think we are going to see prices just above these highs here. Something around 277 to 292, if I had to be the most precise that I could be throughout this video, I would say that's the most likely target area. 260 to $3, that's a bit more of a broad range, but 277 to 292, I'm very confident that this is where we will go next. It's the 14th of January now. I would assume by the end of the month, before the 1st of February here, I would assume that we make our way there. So likely the next week or couple of weeks should be rather exciting for XRP, more or less on a daily basis. I don't think that you're just going to teleport there in one day. Maybe you do, and then the next couple of weeks are boring actually, and you're consolidating. I would expect that you more or less move up like this. So maybe in the next week we'll be up there and just gradually moving up throughout this whole week. Looking on this on a weekly perspective, the weekly RSI has bounced off the oversold zone. Stochastics are bouncing off a very odd area, but it's an area that XRP seems to like. You bounce there, right there a little bit, kind of resistance there. You go back in time, support there, right? It's just an area for whatever reason XRP likes on its weekly stochastics. And the MACD here is getting ready to cross as well. This MACD crossing green will be really interesting. What we want to see is the histogram grow above this one. We want to see the momentum growing. We don't want to see it decay. That's what we want to see. And if we see that, that'll be a clear indication that we are, in fact, getting ready to break out of this to the upside. Just imagine you're in a very tight-knit range for about a year and a quarter, and then that pressure releases. You break out. Like, are you going to, when we break out of this, are we going to stop at $4.50, $5? Is that where we're going to stop? Are we going to stop at $6.50? Did we consolidate all this time just to get a move like this? That's all we get. You spend all this time consolidating and you're getting a move here. It's not even really the length of your range as a whole. Even the length as itself would be pretty disappointing. We take a high to the low of the range. I'm not taking the fake out low from the 10th. Even that would be kind of disappointing, and that would still take us to $8, right? We spent over a year consolidating for a move like this. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I think it's going to take us all the way up to about $13 to $17. That's the expectation, something like that. We derive that target not from this chart. We derive that target from a few different things. I use this because I'm a simple person, okay? I like to keep things simple in my own head. And to me, this is enough. We take the high to the low of this consolidation range you've been in since 2018. The 1272, again, $8 doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We spent all this time consolidating just for from the high to there, just for that move. I don't think so. I don't think so personally. But who cares what I think? Maybe we do stop there. Maybe we only stop at $8.37, guys. Boo-hoo. But probably not. The only next logical target would be the 1414, and typically you do wick just above there. That's why I say $13 to $17, because that's just above that area. I highly doubt that we run all the way up to $27. I highly doubt that we only run up to $8.37. So right there, smack dab in the middle. That's why I believe we're going to go there. Something between $13.57 and $17. But if we look at XRP versus Bitcoin, XRP versus BTC, we can also kind of deduce that same price area as a potential target zone, I would think. You know, you look at this here, XRP to BTC. You've been held down. You found support on this line. You found support on it back here, a little bit of support right there. You've been held down, holding this line as resistance really since 2019. Moments where you wick above it, but really it's like this area you've been held down by 2019 and since 2019 for like the past like 5 years, going on 5.5. When you break above this, I'll ask the same question I did with this one. When you break above this, do you think you're just going to get a little move? 5.5 years of consolidation below this level, you think when you break it, you're just going to get a little move? No, probably not. You're going to go to the next level. You're not going to stop at these highs. You're going to go to the next level. If you're actually breaking out, if XRP is actually breaking out here versus the US dollar, it's going to actually break out versus Bitcoin as well. And likely, you don't stop here at prior support, prior resistance. Likely, after 5.5 years of consolidating, you don't get a move like this. You get a move that's larger. So if you get a move that's larger, just using our eyeballs, what's the most sensible area to approach? I would say probably here, where we have closing resistance, where we have wicking resistance. This at a minimum should be an easy requirement. After 5 years of consolidating, yeah, that makes more sense to me. We take the all-time high to the low of this range, and that's also just above the golden ratio. The 786 right here lines up even better, I think, with these wicking highs up here. If I delete the Fibonacci retracement, you can see the line that we use for best fit with our eyeballs that kind of hit all these points was here. But if we use the fibs, so use the 786, it's here, and that seems pretty well regarded as well. If XRP is to grow versus Bitcoin about almost a 5x, I would assume the price for XRP versus the US dollar does something more than a 5x, right? That's about a 5x there. That's $11. $11 is absurdly, absurdly close to this $13.56 area. Likely, when XRP grows versus Bitcoin, likely when XRP is growing, Bitcoin is growing as well, right? So that's why I say if you're going to grow 5x versus Bitcoin, you're likely going to grow more than a 5x versus the US dollar. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if we saw 1357 or higher. That's been the expectation for over a year at this point. Damn close to a year, if not. I don't really have anything else that I want to say. But the math checks out, man. It really does. It checks out. I can input the number for you, right? Here, let's do it real quick. Let's just do it for funsies. Google calculator. Right, we put that in there. That number is 3011008. I should remember that. 3011000. Is that what it was? 008. I'm being very specific here. Multiply that times the perceived price of Bitcoin, which I don't know about you guys, but by the time XRP moves up here, I would assume, versus Bitcoin, I would assume Bitcoin has probably made a move as well. Let's say Bitcoin, I would think if XRP is up here, Bitcoin's at new all-time highs. But let's say it's not. Let's say it's not at new all-time highs. Let's say, in fact, it's somewhere between its current price here and its all-time high price right now. So right smack dab in the middle, where might that be? Probably like what, right there? I'm just using my eyes. 110K. Let's it's 111K. Let's round down to 110K. Okay, let's be conservative. $110,000. 1, 2, 3. That should give, oops, XRP a price of $12. And again, we're being very conservative. I think it's more than exceptional to expect that, or more than acceptable to expect, not exceptional, it's exceptional too, more than acceptable to expect that if XRP moves up here versus Bitcoin, Bitcoin's probably going to be above 110K. It's probably even going to be at new all-time highs. And all Bitcoin needs to see then, if we're looking at the current price, instead of it going to 110K, what's 120K do? 120. So all Bitcoin has to do really is get above 120K, and then XRP goes here versus Bitcoin, and then this price area of $13 to $17 is completely logical. I got nothing else. I hope you guys are having a good day. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care of yourselves. All right. Bye-bye.